What's up, guys? So today we're going to be looking at Luminova's Bitboy, which is a retro gaming console. This is basically the product that they advertise. They advertise that it contains almost every game you could possibly imagine from your childhood. So opening up the case, cameraman, come on over here. So case looks pretty simple when you open it up. Wrapped up in a plastic. Take the plastic off. What you have is you have a simple gaming console. It is aesthetically pleasing. It's got basically every button you could think of for a gaming console, all in all. So it seems like a pretty simple and straightforward kind of game. You have your power button here, a reset button here, volume buttons just like a PSP, and then your standard gaming buttons. So let's fire this bad boy up. Let's see what it can do. R36H operating system, which is essentially just another fancy word for it's an emulator that's Linux based. It does take a little bit to actually power on because, well, it's a Linux based emulator. Okay, so flipping through this, you have Capcom. You have MAME, PC Engine, Family Computer. Oh, look at that. That looks like a Super Nintendo. Nintendo NES. Now you have Super Nintendo. 64, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, Sega Mega Drive, Sega Dreamcast, Game Gear, Neo Geo, regular PlayStation, PSP, and then you have the actual firmware for options. So, now that being said, you have the collection, all games, favorites, and it goes back to Capcom. Now, here's one feature that I didn't particularly like about this, is that it used to scroll through all my games. Now my analog sticks seem to be fully working, which is actually kind of good. So at first when I got it, it had a weird glitch to it. Now it seems that the glitch is resolved. So let's try and pushing this with a reasonably difficult to operate kind of system for this sort of thing. So we'll do FIFA Street 2 for PlayStation Portable, and let's see how this thing operates when it fires up, right? Enable autosave feature. Sure. Oh, that was actually the don't enable because this is the actual confirm button. So it emulates all the buttons of a PSP, which means it should emulate the actual controller of a PSP, which means it would have your directional controls and then your actual joystick, which on a PSP is reversed. So bear with me on this. Start button. Okay, joysticks seem to actually work as they are intended. So let's see what happens when I do actually try to play the game. I'm going to play a very simple game. It is a full PSP ISO. And it looks like it's actually a pretty functional game overall. So now there are a couple of extra features to this. Basically, the first one being that you can do this and it pulls you out of the game completely. There is a feature to save as well, that you can essentially save as an emulator as opposed to saving it outside of that. But the main thing is precisely that, is that you can just go back and you can go to a different system. So overall thoughts, well, my overall thoughts on this, and bear in mind, turning it off is a little bit of an affair. Turning it off is a matter of holding the power button down, and eventually, there we go, the light's actually off. Now, bear in mind, what do I think of it? So, delivery-wise, this thing takes a hot minute to deliver, okay? So, do expect that you're going to be waiting for a while. Pre-order it ahead of time if you are actually going to intend to buy this thing, because you're going to be waiting for a hot minute. They took like a month and a half to deliver mine, so it is a little bit of a process. It's probably because manufacturing is individual on this, and you have to actually manufacture the console and the micro SD card, which sits in here. Features wise, when I originally bought it, there was a weird thing with the firmware where the joysticks didn't want to cooperate. Maybe it's a first startup. That issue seems to have resolved itself. As you saw, fully functional console apparently. So that's an upside to it. It actually does deliver what you expect it to. Now, there is one more thing about it, is as you saw, you did not have necessarily every single video game in the console. You had a wide variety. So this is not every single video game you could possibly have. This contains a wide variety of retro video games. You can always add more, you can always remove more. I will have other videos explaining how to operate that and essentially how to do that, but ideally this is a great startup. I'd say, yeah, for the price that it's actually advertised, I would buy it for $100. It's highly recommended. Bear in mind, I am not paid by Luminova or Bitboy to do this. I'm doing this as an honest review as a customer. Thank you.